Hello, it is Wednesday, April 7th, 2021, and today we are going to be working on a game that we've been working on, I don't know, for about 2 weeks now? About 2 weeks, I think? Yeah, like it's a clone of Asteroids, but with sort of an LSD kind of acid theme to it, which is kind of interesting, or at least I think so. Whoa, that's not what that was supposed to do. That's what that was supposed to do. Also, I need my camera to actually start working with me. Oh wow, it worked first try. That's unusual. Ooh, okay, but the green screen is a little bit off. I am not going to worry about fixing that right now. It's not really worth it. Also, I don't think I need these. Yeah, what I'm going to worry about, it's just weird for me to have them on. It like blocks out sound and stuff. Also, do I have the sound? Yeah, it's not off. Okay, cool. But yeah, this is sort of the Asteroids game we've been working on. You know, it displays the flashing lights warning, also flashing lights warning. So yeah, it has sort of an acid sort of theme to it. We can, you know, click the settings, change the settings if we want. We're not going to worry about that. We have this score thing. This does not work yet. We're going to get that hooked up today. And what we do is, you know, just basic little Asteroids clone. Also, we need to get hold to fire working as well. Yeah, that's another thing I need to get working, because I don't like having to click each time. Also, having to click each time sort of gives you an advantage in like slow-mo, which I'm not a super huge fan of. But yeah, so that's what we got. Anyway, we're gonna get the score stuff working first, and then we'll move on to getting the actual like hold to fire working. So for the scoring, we're going to store stuff in a JSON probably. So yeah, we're going to use JSON because I like JSON. Yeah, I think this is in the package manager. I don't know if it's a Unity package or not. I don't think so. Let me try to find it. This should be the Unity registry. Is Newtonsoft JSON in here? It would be really nice if it was. Doesn't look like it is. No, not even JSON itself is in here. Oh, that's annoying. Is JSON really not in here? No. Let's look at this. JSON. Okay. It's JSON.net. I assume this has been updated. Maybe. Purchase date, then it doesn't show. Let's assume that this is going to work. And if it doesn't, we can do something else. So we have the assemblies, we don't need the docs. I don't think we need the zip. And I don't know that we need the link.xml. I think we just need the assemblies. But with this, I should be able to import Newtonsoft. And then we should be able to store the high scores. It does have to compile a little bit. I'm glad that this actually updates. It's really nice that it tells us that it's actually working. Okay. So we're going to go to the project here, and actually I want this down here. I think this is better. Yeah, okay. And so what we'll do is we'll just create, well actually let's not create anything quite yet. Let's find the game manager, because we're probably going to want to do something with that first. Basically what we want to happen is when the player clicks on that scores thing, what we want it to do is we want it to show like the high scores of the players, or the player's high score, I guess. And maybe like the date that they got that high score, that's probably the way to do it. Let me think about this. Alright, so I think we can say using newtonsoft.json. Yes, okay. So if I remember how to do this right, we're going to need an object to sort of store the scores. So I'm going to say scores. And this doesn't need to be a mono behavior. In fact, I don't think it can be. We did need system collections generic, so let's grab that. So we're going to need system collections generic. What we're going to have is we're probably going to have a public class, and this is going to be a score. So this is like a single score entry. And so this is going to have a public, and this is just going to be, well, actually, no. It's going to be, now just be a date string that will be the date. Date. And then we'll have a public string that will be the, or not, string or int. No, we'll have an int. This will be the score. And we can just make these auto properties, I think. I think this is okay. If not, we will have to fix it later. Get set, that's probably fine. What do you not like? Oh, right, you don't like the actual final call value. Because the class in the class in the actual field variable can't store a name. Damn, they can't have the same name. That's the word I'm looking for. And we'll just put the class first, and then we'll have public list of score. This will be scores. We'll have get and set, and that's fine. It's basically, really, you don't like that? Oh, right, because there are rows or entries, sure. So we have scores, which has a list of entries. Hey, W, how's it going? Yeah, it is a pretty good day today. Or what should I say? Do you mean that it's a good day, or do you mean that it's a day to be good, or do you mean that it's a good day whether I want it to be or not? Trying to do the whole Gandalf thing. I don't remember exactly what he says, but I know that he says something very similar to that. Anyway, we are working on acid droids, and we're working on adding a score sort of component to it. But anyway, I think I remember how to do this, and so just trying to figure it out. And the game manager, I think that's what will tell us when we've been killed. On asteroid destroyed, on player death. So have you worked any more on the C#, the editor script that you were working on? Let's see here. Instance, show endgame. So in the endgame screen, that's where we want to add a thing to our scores. So I guess let's create a class called Score Manager. I hate this, no. Let's call this Data Manager. I still hate it, but no. But we'll use it anyway. I don't know. So this will be the Data Manager, and we'll just have this in the actual game manager itself. So this thing will be responsible for loading, like reading and writing from the disk. So say using newtonsoft.json. So what we will do is we will say public void, I guess add score will be the thing. And we can say int score, and then maybe string date. Date, yeah, that'll work. Okay. So with that, what we want to do is whenever we add the score, we want to get current scores, and then we want to update them. When we get the current scores, we want to add the new score, and then haven't just yet, my weekdays, I don't have much time. Ah, okay. Yeah, I know the feeling. It's kind of, you know, like, I guess work can be pretty, yeah, time to work on stuff. I remember work for me used to be pretty intense, so it's very hard for me to stream on weekdays whenever, you know, had a full-time job and stuff. Oh my god. Cannot get my camera to cooperate here. No, that doesn't work. Hey, percentage guy, how's it going? We're adding high scores to this game, hopefully. Oh my god. The camera. Oh my god, it's because this shirt is too green. Alright, fine. Does this help it? Nope, that just makes it way, way worse. Alright, well. Turn the green screen over is what I should have done. Alright, I'll check GC in a minute. I'll do some refactoring now while watching streamers, so we'll see how that goes. Ah, okay, good luck. Oh my god. Can't get it to work. Am I too close? Like, I'm about to give up on this thing. Yeah, I shouldn't have worn this shirt. Hold on. 1 second. Alright, there we go. So, yeah, I've come to a new appreciation of this hoodie recently because it's dark enough that my camera can pick out the color differences. And I can still do a little bit more with this, can't I? Yeah, I can. There we go. Okay. Alright, so you said check Discord. Let me check Discord. Only one trigger since both statements. No, that's not how that works. So on key down only triggers once itself. So it's not even that, it's that on key down only returns true once in a frame. Well, if you, hold on, let me actually, let me explain it. So let's say we have void update in here. So void update, if you do, so input, let's say if input.get key, oh wait, you said on key down? Is it get key down or on key down? Where even is that? Input.get key down, yeah. So if you said, let's say, get key down, keycode.x, I think was the thing, yeah. If you do this, and then if you have var t equals false, we'll say is on, there we go. So what we'll say is if not is on, debug log is on equals true, we'll say is off, and then we'll say is on equals true, and then what we'll do is we'll say if is on, then we'll say debug.log and is on. Is on. And so what you'll see is that both of these actually trigger. Wait, is a thing, is on key down a thing? I didn't even know that. I don't know that there is a different, well, on key down, well, I don't know if it's a thing. On key down is what other, on key down might be a JavaScript thing if I'm thinking of it right. I don't know that it's actually a thing. But that's just how I read it. You said get key down. But I think you actually wrote are in an on key down. You actually wrote the word on key down. But yeah, if you watch this, both of these will trigger. But with on key down might be a thing. I don't know. It's probably a thing. If I press X, you see both of them trigger. It's because that's how that works. This is an if statement, so this all get key down is it just returns a bool. But this is still an if statement, so everything inside this block will trigger. Like this method can't change anything about how this triggers. But yeah, that's how it works. Well, actually, I don't know if on key down is a thing. I think it might be, maybe the new input system might have something similar. So how do I make a not shitty, actually working toggle? I mean, you can just put an else if in your code and it should only toggle only one of them should toggle. The way that I usually do it is I will just return if one of them is on. Yeah, you can do an else if or something. I'm trying to think of code where I've actually done like a toggle system recently, but I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't think there's any that I've done. Add the score if it is in the top 10. And so we're going to get the current scores, we're going to add the score if it's in the top 10, and then we're going to write back to the disk. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to have a public, not public, we're going to protect it. No, we're actually going to have public because we will want to get this to display it on the score screen. So we're going to say get scores, maybe load scores. Also, can you really quickly explain lerping? Because as you said, I seem to be doing something wrong. As you said, I seem to be... I don't think I said you were doing something wrong. I think I said... What did I say? Yeah, the last value for lerp. So that I can explain really quickly as well, lerping. So lerp, what it does is lerping is a linear interpolation. So for instance, if I have, so it's a linear interpolation. So if I have, let's say 0, and then if I want to linearly interpolate between 0 and 100, right? So we say 0 to 100, I want to linearly interpolate. If I interpolate by 0.5, that means that I'm going to get 50 because it's 50%. It's halfway between 0 and 100. And I actually don't know how it works with the inclusive exclusive. I think it's pretty close. So for instance, if we do, if we just debug.log, and we do something like lerp 0, 100 by 0.5, I mean, you could make like a UI element for this as well, but I'll just show it really quick. If I did this right, this should give me 50%, or this should give me 50. Oops. It's mathf.lerp. So if I want to make it lerp fully, yeah, put 1.0. That's basically how it works. But it returns a static value. It doesn't, it'll return a static value. It doesn't do, like it doesn't, yeah, it's weird how it works, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, if I run this, it should give me 50%, or it should give me 50, if I'm thinking of this right. Yeah, so lerping from 0 to 100 by 0.5 gives you 50. So it returns a static value. Whenever I do lerping, trying to think. I'd usually do it with cameras, and that's because it causes the camera to speed up over time. Like in your case, let me look at the code that you have. So you're trying to change, are you trying to have it like spin up to a certain point, or are you trying to have it like just instantly go to the minimum speed or the maximum speed? Because like, so you're trying to have it go like spin up kind of slowly, is that right? Oh, right, we do color lerping in, yeah, spin up. So the way that we do it, or the way that we do the lerping in, is it the game manager? Yeah, okay, so game manager. This is usually how you use lerping, is you have, you know the end time, so you subtract the current time. And so what this will do is this will go towards 0, this will start at 1 and go towards 0, and then you divide that by the duration. Wait a minute. So yeah, this starts at 1, goes towards 0. You divide that by the duration, so it gets to be an even smaller number. And then since this number is getting smaller, what I do is we make it go from 1 to 0, so we lerp backwards from the start color to the target color. There are ways to, you usually just need to store the start time, the end time, and then you need to basically call this for every value in between 0 and 100, basically. I'm trying to think of how to do it like mathematically. But that's basically what you need to do, is you need to store the end time and then the start time and also the duration. And then you can use some math to sort of get the interpolation between the two. Let me see. In your case, so you have a joint motor 2D. So you probably need to, I mean, actually, you could just store the motor speed. I mean, I think in your case, what I would do is in void update, what I'd probably do is just say, let me think. In your case, what I would do is I would say like motor.speed is equal to mathf dot clamp the current motor speed, and then the like motor.speed between the min speed and then the max speed. And then I would say motor speed plus, well, actually, you could do motor.speed plus equal to spin up times time.delta time. I mean, technically this would change it every turn, or every frame. Something like this. You could also say if motor.speed greater than or equal to max speed, then you would just return. Something like that. If you put this in update, this should give you a spin up of some kind, because this would be like your spin up speed, and then this would be time delta time. So yeah, this would probably work for a spin up type thing, because the instant, like the frame that you overshoot, what'll happen is, like once you overshoot the speed, it'll just get clamped back to the max speed, and then you will, and then you'll hit this from then on. And then when it slows down, you need to do a minus equals. So you could always say like speed change or something, and then you could just store the spin up or spin or wind down speed, whichever. Something like that. That's probably how I would do it. But anyway, you need to get the current scores, so have public, this will be scores, and this will be get scores, or load scores. So we're going to load these from the disk. And so we're going to say var scores equals load scores. But yeah, tell me if that answered your question, because it should. I think I did, but I don't know, I might be wrong. We also need a protected constant string file, scores file, or file name, I guess. So this is going to be the name for the actual like scores file. Or I'll say scores file name, or I guess we'll say files and then, or not constant string, but we'll say protected class. Remind me to put you in the credits somewhere, because this credit would have probably been this would have probably been canceled. It's fine. But yeah, I'll remind you. So this will be files. Nah, we're not gonna worry about this nonsense. We're gonna do protected. I mean, I hope that explained it right. Or I hope that explained it in a way that's understandable. So we're going to make this JSON file, and then we're going to call this the scores file. So I think we need to say in load scores, we need to say if, okay, yeah, tell me if it works. We're going to say if not file dot, all right, we need to be using system.io. I always forget about this. System, not system, we're not playing Among Us. All right, system.io. I think we need to say if file, if not file dot exists, and then I think it's application, or actually, actually what we can do is we can turn this into an expression defined member. So we can say scores file, actually no, we just say public scores file, and then we return the application. Really? Can we not reference this here? Oh right, yes we can, because we have Unity engine. There we go. Yeah, there we go, .persistent data path. Aha. Alright. So what this will do is this declares an expression defined member. So basically anytime this is like a method, and anytime we access this scores file, it runs this method, and then returns this string. So this is string interpolation. It'll put the persistent data path in the string right here, and then operating systems among us be like, yeah, exactly. that was the thought that came to mind. That's what the Skeld runs on, right? Is the operating system. Yeah. You'd probably run on no Windows, because I don't know if the Skeld oh no, the Skeld actually does have Windows in the cafeteria, and I think those are the only ones. I guess there's some in the cockpit too, but that's about it. Which, I don't know why the Skeld even has Windows. Why do spaceships even have Windows? It doesn't make any sense. Like, you really can't see any, like, you're not going to use them to navigate, right? And if you wanted to look outside the spaceship, it would just make more sense to use a camera, because a window would be like the least efficient way to do that. But yeah, I don't know. It never made sense to me why spaceships are always shown with windows, because I don't see why I don't think they'd be necessary. And even if they were necessary, I don't know that they'd be that useful. So yeah. Basically, we're going to load stuff with the persistent data path. We could put this in player prefs, but I don't like doing that because it throws things into the registry on Windows and they're very hard to remove. So anyway, we're going to say if file dot exists scores file. So if the scores file doesn't exist, I think we're in insert mode actually. Is that right? No. Okay, good. All right. So if the file doesn't exist, we want to create it. Otherwise, we're going to have to load it. So it doesn't exist. We can do file.create, and then we can say scores file. And so now it should exist. And really what we want to do is we want to say try, because all of this, anytime you're working with like file operations, those can really cause problems, like they can crash. And I think we're going to catch exception, exception. Actually, no, wait, do we say, I always forget how this works in C#. I think you can catch an IO exception like this. Is that right? Yeah, you can, all right. Then we can just say debug.log error. You can just say failed to load scores due to an exception. There we go. All right, so first thing we're going to do is if, well, we need to also store our scores. Not worried about this. That kind of works. It kind of works? Okay. I mean, kind of working is better than not working, right? But what causes it to break, I guess, or what does it not do? We have a problem that the main idle noise doesn't play. Oh, where am I? The main idle noise doesn't play. Probably because wait is I would guess that wait never reaches I would guess that weight never reaches 0 exactly. Are you familiar with floating point numbers and how they have issues, percentage guy? Also, we can remove the saturation here. There's no reason to be that saturated. It reaches 0, like exactly 0, to the point where it reaches exactly 0? Like to the point where the comparison works, or no? Because it may not reach exactly 0, depending on the math. Anyway. So the exception, we have load scores. Alright, so after we create it, then we can, well actually, never mind. Whenever we create the scores, what we want to do is we want to write like an empty version of scores. So what we're going to do is I think we can say JSON converter or JSON convert dot serialize, and then we're going to create we're going to serialize a if weight less than or equal to 0 and weight greater than or equal to -1. What are you trying to do exactly? So you're trying to wait. So the interesting thing is that it looks like you wait in this code. It looks like you only wait whenever you turn something on. And then in the wait, or in the turning it off, like from is on to is off, you're not actually updating the wait. And then there you're storing the wait. So what does the wait actually do? Because like, the reason I do is because there's -1 to wait where the wait variable sits if it's not used. So what I usually do, instead of storing like a timer variable, like instead of storing like a wait for seconds or something, what I'd recommend is just store a like an end time. So just say float wait end, and then you just compare if time.time greater than wait end, because that way waits for one sound to be done and then plays the idle sound. Oh, okay. So if you want to wait for a sound to be done and then play an idle sound, so what you might be able to do is I know that mono behaviors have an invoke command. So what you could do is you could say, I think invoke, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think invoke uses coroutines. So I think what you can do is you could do something like public void play, like you could say play idle sound, and then what you could do is you could say on sound.stop, and then on sound.stop or something, and then you could say invoke play idle sound, and then you could say invoke after on sound.length or something like that. You could do something like that. That would just wait and then play the idle sound after a certain amount of time. And then I think you could do start. Actually, wait, whenever you turn it off, so you're just playing the off sound. Yeah. Okay. You could do something like that with the invoke method, or you could just do it the other way, whichever one's easier. Yeah, okay, so if the file doesn't exist, we need to serialize. We need to do file.write. I think it's just write text. Do we need to open the file first? I always forget how this works. Oh my god, is it file dot, I think we can append, right? Just append text, and then we can say var JSON is equal to JSON convert, something like this. And sure, let's open the file anyway, just in case. Oh, we need file mode, really? Sure, let's open the scores file, and then we'll say mode dot, I guess read, right? Oh, we can do open or create. Okay, that'll work. So actually, well, actually, this will just be create, right? Yeah, this will be create. Do we need, this is a file stream, so this is var file is equal to that. Then I think we say like file.append text, or file.write. Is there no, interesting. I'd rather not do that. Just do file.create and then scores file. I think this is fine. Scores file like that. And then I think we can do file.append. This does it to a stream writer. Huh. Maybe it's just file.write. I thought it was file.write. I always forget how to do this. Like every time I have to do it, I have to rewrite. I have to look it up again. I think we can say scores file, and then we can say JSON. And then what we're going to serialize is a new scores object, like that. And then we can say that this is a new list. So we just need to have this. We just need this to have a non-null value. So what this should do is if there is no scores file, what we do is we create one, and then we convert this new scores object to a JSON value, and then we write it in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab, we're going to create a thing called scores is equal to new scores, just in case, and then we're going to return scores. And then what we'll say is we'll say scores is equal to file.read. So this will be the JSON that we're reading in. So this will be file.read .read lines. Enumerable string, interesting. Read all text. That'll work. And then we will read. What will we read? We're going to read. Oh god, scores file. That's what we're going to read. Huh, okay, that's weird. Local parameter cannot be declared. Oh, right, I always forget about this. C# has this weird thing. So say this is, I guess, the text from the file. Yeah, I guess that's fine. And then it works, but the idle sound is way louder than the other sounds. That don't go well. Yeah. Then we'll say that scores is equal to JSON convert dot deserialize. And then we give it a type. And then we give it the text. Okay. So if this, I believe this works. You know how I said it works? The motor never turns. Alright, so the way that this works is in load scores, we declare a variable for scores to hold our scores game object, or not game object, but data object here. And the reason that we do this is just in case this try catch block fails, we still have a null value, like an empty value to return. That way we don't get any issues with this returning null. Like you could return null to represent that the scores can't be loaded, but functionally speaking, there's no difference between not being able to load the scores and loading an empty scoreboard, other than maybe you just tell, if you just tell the player that they can't be loaded, but I don't know that there's much benefit to that. I mean, in a more robust system, you probably would, but I'm not going to worry about it. And then inside the try catch block, what we do is the first thing we want to do is we want to check if the scores file exists, because if it doesn't, then we can't read to, or we can't read from it, right? So if you can't read, if it doesn't exist, what we want to do is we first want to create a file to hold the data. Then we use this JSON convert.serialize object, and so what it'll do is we'll take this scores data object here and it'll turn it into JSON. So JSON is like a file is a text format, so this returns a string. Because JSON is always usually stored as a string. And then what we do is we write to the scores file we write the JSON, and then we want to do, I think, file.close. Oh, really? We don't have to close that. Okay, that's fine. So we write all the text to it, and now the file will have this empty scores object. If the file did exist, then it'll actually have its own data. So the next thing we do is that we read the text from the file, and in the case, if the file didn't exist, we're just rereading what we just wrote, but functionally speaking, it's going to be, like, if the file did exist, this will not execute. So we'll jump down here and we'll just read the existing scores, and then what we do is in the scores variable that we declared up here, we store the deserialized version of it. So what it'll do is it'll take this text and it'll convert it back into a scores object here. and then it'll return it to us. So if it was on the disk, then it will actually, if we had data stored before, it'll return the data that we had stored. If there's no data, then it'll return an empty scores field, or an empty scores object. And so now what we do, and I guess I'll put a type on this because why not? What we need to do is we need to say scores.entries, and I think we need to get the minimum. So what we want to do is we want to check if, so in scores, we have a list of entries here, and each entry has a date and a value. What we want to do is we want to check if the score that we just added, or that the score that we want to add, is greater than at least one of the elements in this. Otherwise, we don't want to do anything with it. So basically, like, if the player has, score 10, I don't know, 10, 8, and, 7 or something, and we're only storing 3, let's say the new score is a 4, like, that's lower than a 7, so there's no reason to do anything. But if it's a 9, then we need to put it here, and we need to get rid of 7, right? Because if we were only storing 3, but we're storing 10, because we're generous people. The top 9 losers also get to feel good. But why is a toggleable rotor so difficult? Well, toggle stuff can be kind of tough. I mean, I think the difficult part of like toggle stuff is like if you're trying to like animate it or something, not animate it, but like you want to have like a spin up and sort of spin down effect. So you have this point with the rotor where really the player shouldn't be able to interact with it. And I mean, really what you have is a state machine, and you're trying to store it. You're trying to do like the state machine kind of stuff in a difficult way. Everything works, just the motor doesn't cooperate. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it would be easier if you did it as a state machine, but the state machine is more complicated. And just scrap the sign up and just tell the motor to turn on a bit. Yeah, I mean, really, what you want is probably a state machine, but it's gonna be hard to store all of the like necessary kind of stuff to make that work. But anyway, I have not thought about how we're actually going to do the sorting through the score. Oh, well, actually, all right. This is another time to show off Link, because Link is so amazing. This is why I love Link. So what we're going to say is we're going to say scores.entries. So entries is a list, which means that we can use link on it, right? So what we'll do is we will create a new list. This will be entry or score, I think. That score. So these will be the scores. Well, actually, this will be the score list. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, whoops, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? No, what we're going to say is a list of scores.score is equal to a new list, and then we're going to put scores.entries. What on earth? Oh, we don't have system collections. All right. And actually what we can do is we can say scores.entries.union. Yeah, there we go. So what we can do is we can create a union. So what we're basically going to do, so the way that we're going to do this is we're going to take the current scores, we're going to add a new entry for the player's score, and then what we're going to do is we're going to sort that list, and then we're going to only take the top 10. And that's typically how you do it. So we're going to say union, and this needs to be a list, I believe. So we're going to say that there's a new list of scores.entries, or .score. And then the only element in this list is going to be a new score, score.score, and then inside of that, this is too complicated. Why is it not like that? Oh, not collections.generic, that's the problem. There we go. So actually what we'll do is we'll create a variable for the players for the new score, right? Say scores.score, new score. This is the new players, this is the newest score. We could just score to add. Let's say score to add. How about that? That's probably better. The rotor now have a fancy line to show it spinning. Okay. So date is equal to just date. How did removing the motor spin up break literally everything related to the trigger? I don't know. Is this like the setup to a joke? How did that happen? I don't know. And so yeah, what we'll do is we'll create a, so we do. We create a new entry for the score, and then we create a list that contains only that entry. Then we say whatever the current entries are, give us a union of those two lists. And so what that does is if the previous entries had 10 entries, now it'll have 11. And so what we want to do is we want to sort that, or we need to say toList. Then we can say sort. Oh, but we can't. All right. Well, actually, wait a minute. Hang on. Sort. Does this do what I think it does? No, it doesn't. All right. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. So what we can do is we can store a list of these. We can store this in a variable. We can say entries. Like this. So this gives us all of the entries plus, the current scores plus the old scores. And what we want to do is we want to say entries.sort. And the reason that we have to do this here is because entries.sort returns void. And so what this will do is this will sort all of the, well, this should sort all of it. I actually don't know if this is mutable. Let's assume it is. Yeah, what this will do is this will sort the entries. It could do it high to low or low to high, I can't remember. I removed the if, else if statements, and now the trigger doesn't work anymore. You removed the if, else statements. Well, I mean, if the trigger doesn't work anymore, you probably need, like, I think you still need the is on check, right? Because you still need the toggle, right? Like if you're just doing it from on to off. Yeah, I think you still need the toggle. So what we're going to do is we're sorting the entries, and then what we can say is we can say, where is scores? We can say scores.entries is equal to entries.take. So what take will do is if this, if entries has 11 elements, so let's say that we already had like 10 before, right? So if we have 10, or if we have 10 scores before, then adding a new one will give us 11. And so then what we do is we sort those 11, and then we go to the 11 and we say, hey, take only 10 of them. And then we convert that to a list. And then we can say public void say, or protected void save scores. Save scores. Something like that. And then this will be the scores. And so what we can do is we can just take this stuff and put it in here. I'm going to grab this as well. Actually, I'll just take all this. And we only want these two lines. As such, be able to save scores, etc. And so now we have scores here. And so what we'll do is instead of, we'll just reuse this code. And so what we'll do is we'll put this in here. We'll just say save new scores, like that. So we'll just save new scores here. And now we can reuse this over here and say save scores, and then we'll save scores. All right. I hope that made sense. I also hope it worked. The other one, I mean, not if else, not those if else if. The other one in the update for the motor, what does try catch even do? So try catch, what it does is, so for example, let's say in say file.exists or maybe file.create. So let's say you try to create a file, and let's say the scores file path, for some reason we don't have the permission to write to this path. What file.create will do is it'll throw an exception, and so if you don't catch that exception, it'll cause your entire thing to crash. And so what try catch does is it says, hey, if anything in here throws an exception, deal with it this way. And it basically, if anything in this try block throws an IO exception, we can deal with it this way, and all we do is we just debug.log error, which is really how a lot of code does it, and it's really bad, but that's how we're going to deal with it. Because to be fair, we really can't do anything. Yeah. So yeah, basically an exception is just for when there's a case where a method, like it can't do what you've asked it to do because there's some exceptional case. Could I make an exception screen that just throws the error at the user? I would love that, especially user error. It's always not, it would be great to just throw the exception right at the user, but no, you can't do that, unfortunately. We don't have that technology yet. I had proposed a, so I worked for a startup one time, and I had proposed the idea of making a little like USB powered thing that like squirts the user with water whenever they do something stupid, but that they weren't too convinced with that idea. I don't know why. Marketing department didn't like it, so they never used it. But you know, I thought it was pretty novel. I mean, you know, if you can't program, it reduces the developer burden, right? Because then the user just learns what not to do. I don't know. I think it would be universally used, but you know. Yeah, they didn't like the idea too much, unfortunately. So, let's say in the UI manager, let's say that we, I don't know, click the scores screen. That's what my engine will do. Just make an exception screen, as you saw in my totally real version of the engine. Yeah, of course. Yeah, your totally real version of the engine. Yeah. All right. So in the game manager component, we want a public data manager. That way, the score screen and game manager itself can both access them. So we'll say a public data manager. Have a get protected set. This would be, a lot of engines do that. Data manager. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that Unity is kind of at least nice. I can list at least 3 with an unignorable exception screen. Yeah. I'm glad, I like the way that Unity does it. So we'll say, yeah, I know Love 2D does it. I don't know. Well, yeah, that's because Lua, oh yeah, RenPy does it too. I don't know why RenPy would do it, because I know that Python can deal with errors and exceptions and stuff. I think it actually only deals with errors. I think Java and C# are weird in that they both have the idea of an error and an exception. Has ignorable, but only if it's a minor error. So maybe Python does have errors and exceptions. I think Lua doesn't though. But I think in Lua you could probably make your own. In fact, I'm almost 100% sure you could make your own exceptions versus errors. I think that's a thing. Because you should be able to. Shouldn't you be able to modify like the exception metatable or something? And that would give you the ability to distinguish between the two? Yeah, I think you can. I was about to say. I think there's a way. And you could just screw with that and then you wouldn't have any issues anymore. But anyway, in in here, what we want to do is we want to say data manager is equal to new data manager. Has something similar to try. Well, yeah, but I think you could modify the exception meta table, and then you could have like the concept of a non-terminal exception. I think. I don't know. It's been too long since I've used Lua. Well, I mean, it's been too long since I've done the sort of meta table stuff with Lua, but I know you could do some crazy stuff with it. Anyway, in the game manager, we've set up the data manager. That's all good. So in the asteroid destroyed on player death, what we need to do is we need to say, oh yeah, on player death, right. This is where the game actually ends right here. So what we need to do is we need to say scores, or no, data manager dot add score, and the date needs to be date, isn't it just date time dot now or something, and then you can just format it. God, what is it? Is it system? Is it just in system? I think it's just in system, right? Oh, but we have the problem there. Given that I can't find that error again, it probably means that that worked. Yeah, datetime.now.toString. Then we can give it the format. So I think what we want is mmdd. I think that's right. Let's call that right. And then the score is going to be the UI manager component.instance.score, not current score. There we go. And so that should add a score. And then in the UI manager component, when we onclick score, what we're going to do is we're just going to do data manager dot, or no, it's game manager component dot instance dot load score dot data manager dot load scores. So that should give us scores and then entries. And let us just debug.log that, and I don't know how Unity deals with lists if you try to debug log them. I don't think it works right, but we're gonna try anyway. So, okay. And now this error, it'll tell you random is ambiguous between UnityEngine.random and system.random. All that means is that system.random is a thing and UnityEngine.random is a thing, and it can't figure out which one to use. An easy way to fix that is to just say using random as UnityEngine.random. And what that does is anytime it sees random as a type, it just says, oh, I want this. The other thing you can do is you can also specify. So let's say I wanted this seed to be system.random. I can actually just specify this as system.random. So yeah. Quote from the whole principle of try-catch block emulation in Lua relies on pcall that catches the error message and pushes it to the catch block function. The only weakness, right, is can't get more information because you're handling errors outside of the scope where the error occurred. Oh, that's great. The issue can be solved if it handles the error before stack unwinding. Okay. Interesting. But see, I don't understand why they would try to emulate try-catch blocks, and why wouldn't they just make it a part of the language? Like, it doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense to me why they would do it that way. I mean, I guess it's for, no, I couldn't even see that. That just seemed weird to me. I don't get why they wouldn't make it a part of the language. It seems hacky. Anyway, if I did that right, I think this will work. And I think I talked through it okay, maybe I didn't. Let's try. Okay. So now if I click on scores, nothing should happen. Well, actually no, I should get an empty list. We get an error, that's fun. Okay, failed to save, failed to load. Oh, cool. Okay. That's always fun. Why'd that happen? Is the persistent data path not available in the editor? Is that true? Or is it not? So no reference object. What? No reference. How are we getting a no reference? Data manager.load scores. Interesting. So, I think there's some kind of issue with the editor. I might be wrong though. Actual explanation, yeah. Pcall function, calls requested function. Yeah, okay. So why is this a null reference? That doesn't seem right. I think something's broken. Hold on, let's try to die. I think there's an issue with the actual editor though. I think I've read something about this with like instance variables. Like when you restart the editor, something weird happens and it may not like reload them correctly or something. Yeah, it's giving me a null reference, but it really shouldn't be doing that. Okay. Well, let's throw this up. And then let me reboot this. I think the pixel filter needs to be more pixelated. Possibly. Yeah, I think something's broken here, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. File I/O stuff is kind of weird. This is why I tend to avoid it. But I mean, I kind of need to figure it out. Alright. So let's see if we still get the same issue. Because I think we'll get a different issue now. And if that's true, then that means that there's something with reloading scripts in Unity. No, there's an object reference. Why is there a null reference? How is that possible? So the effect that we're getting, so the thing that we're getting here. Okay, so either that's null, no, only that could be null, but, okay, so only that could be null, but it is it referenced elsewhere? It's basically XP call, yeah. GameManager.instance. So the only place that the data manager gets assigned is when the instance is not equal to null, right? That's the only time that ever gets assigned. So then how is there no reference here? Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Let's think about this. So, unless no reference could be from that. So actually I guess no reference could be from that, could be from that, it could be from that. That shouldn't no reference though. Let's check this. How could load scores return null? Since there was no error, I don't think it can. So if that's true, then one of these has to be giving a null reference, and I don't know how that's possible. So instance data manager.load scores. Let's see which one of those dies. Very curious what's going on. Alright, so not set to an instance of an object. So entries is not set to an instance of an object. How? So scores itself creates a new list, yes. Okay. No, really, how could entries be null? Okay, let's log load scores. That shouldn't be nullable. Unless it got written as null, but it shouldn't get written as null. Unless the file opened but failed to write? Is that what happened? So that's null. So the file opened but it failed to write. Why did it fail to write? Did it need to be closed from the create? No, that shouldn't be a thing, right? Am I crazy? Alright, well, let me go check this out. So let's say it should be an app data local. I think it's app data local, right? That's the thing. OT unity. No, it's not local. Is it roaming? Unity, no. Local. Actually, where does it put it? I actually don't know. Interesting. Debug log. It's not the collider that is turned off. It's the collider trigger that goes with the rotor, really. Oh, really? Well, so the script broke somehow. It's not the collider that is off. The collider / trigger goes with the rotor really well. Okay, interesting. What is the application persistent data path? What is that? Because I obviously can't find it wherever it might be. Could have probably put this in a better place, but you know, is what it is. Score, all right. So that is users local load default. Okay. Nope, that's wrong. All right, so this is in here. This is that. Unity, no, not Unity. App data, wherever that might be. Local low. Unity default? No. Is it default? It is default. Okay. Oh wow, that's a lot. Check DC. Okay, give me 1 second. Wow, that's from. Wait, how is that? Huh, I don't know how I have. Wait, what? Why do I have. No, really, why do I have? Oh, that's really weird. Oh wow, there's lots of stuff I have in here. It should be at the top though. Yeah, it's right there. Okay. Why is there a text document here? What is this? Interesting. Okay. What is scores? Yeah, it's literally empty. Alright. So there must be like an invalid state or something, I guess. So if I erase that, then we go into UI Manager component, or no. Is it UI Manager? On click scores that. Alright. So this is loading nothing, but why is it loading nothing? Let me open that. And whoops. No, we don't want that. Let me look at Discord. Oh my god. Anything off? Sounds playing. What is it doing? Or should I say, what is it not doing? Is not equal to null on sound.length. Yeah, I guess what are you expecting it to do that it's not doing? interesting. It does nothing? So when you... Oh, this hasn't been loading, has it? So... It is false, wait.sound effect. It should play the wait sound effect. Otherwise... Or it looks like, well, actually, wait a minute. I mean, it looks like it should play the on sound. Looks like that's all it should do. It sets the max speed between the max speed and the min speed. Clamp it between the min speed and the max speed. Yeah, I don't know why that doesn't work. That's weird. It's supposed to toggle it, yeah. Alright, so this is sharing violation. Interesting. What is a sharing violation? Failed to because... Why does it call it? Why is it a sharing violation? That's weird. Let me look at this. Unity sharing violation. Is this because the editor is doing something? Is that what it is? Get no errors, no nothing, it just won't do anything. Seems very strange. Got this error every frame, I'm sure. Function, persistent data path. File.open, open or create. Same error. Throw this. Oh, we can do that. Turns the stream, which is cleaned up once you're done with. If you're not certain the file is open, the property is listed for that. Right, I forgot we could do this. Let's check this out. If you get no errors, that just seems very strange to me. That's how that works. Right, so let's say using. Open here. Let's open the scores file. So we do open or create. What we can do then is we can say this is equal to read all text file. We can say file dot read all dot begin read. Oh, I don't want to do this. Really don't want to do this. No, there's a way to do this. Files dot, or is it file dot read? I know that you can read the lines of a file, but I don't know how to do it. I've done this before and I didn't have to do that. So, is it because the trigger is a child? Does Unity not like triggers as children or something? It's possible that if the collider, well, I thought they changed it so that colliders, I think if the script is a child of the collider, it's an issue, but if the collider is a child of the script, it's fine. I think that's right. Create an application.datapath, persistent data path, yup. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What's the difference? Did you get an error? How do you get a sharing violation? Sounds like two are trying to access is the same file. Yeah, but how do I... Whenever you create the file, how do you release it? Oh, it gives a file stream, that's how. Oh god, alright. I forgot that this gives a file stream. Alright, that's right. So what we can do is we can do file.create and then we can like immediately close it, I think. There we go. We need to close that. That's what it is. Okay, I remember now. I remember now. Yeah, alright. It's all just components. Yeah, it's fine. Well, I mean, it worked just fine before. Without seeing the project setup, I wouldn't know, unfortunately. Like, that's one of the things. Like, it seems like, yeah, I don't know. Without seeing the project setup, it's hard to know. I would just say make sure nothing has like an offset or anything, because if something has an offset, it can cause issues. Haha, there we go. Now it's working. Dot entries. Well, actually, it at least has data in it, but I don't know. I don't know if it. Well, actually, let's see what the data actually looks like. Aha. So yeah, we have our JSON here that got written. Perfect. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you might just try scrapping it and doing it like incrementally, like just reworking it incrementally. So yeah, there we go. We have a list of scores. Okay. So now if we start, we should be able to load up this scores file and see the actual scores. But yeah, I forgot that whenever you do the file.create, it returns a file stream. And so what that means is that we need to actually close that file stream before we can do anything else with it. That way the reason that exists is so that two processes don't write to the same file. So let's go to the main menu and then we go to score. We can't see anything, but that's fine. Well, I could look at this, but you know. Oh, here's scores, yeah. So if we look at scores, yeah, we have a new date and a new value. Perfect. Okay. So now all we need to do is we need to load that into a list in the UI. So in the menu here, I think it is in scores? No. Actually, how did we do? Did we put settings in here? Yeah, we put settings in here. Let me go ahead and ask on the Discord. Okay, yeah, that's probably better. Because without seeing like the detailed project setup, it's really hard to diagnose that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think it has. Well, because I don't see anything wrong with the actual script. Because what it looks like that should do. So if this is false, it should set the weight. It should play the on sound, unless you have something weird set up in the on sound 2 not equal to null. No. Yeah, unless you have something set up strangely in the actual editor. Yeah, unless you have something set up in the actual editor, it should work. Actually, yeah, it should play. It should either play the on sound or the idle sound. One of those two should play, unless you have something set up in the editor in a weird way. Anyway, I'm going to hide this. Now, let's see here. So, I think we hide main, and then in settings, this is how we do the, yeah, okay. So what we can do is we can create a new parent, or actually we can just duplicate settings. And this will just be scores. Yeah, that'll work. Pastebin supports Unity. Interesting. I don't know what you mean by that. Unless, do you mean like Pastebin supports like C#? Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean Pastebin supports Unity? Like, what does it support about Unity? I don't know what you mean. Never mind, okay. I'm gonna remove the slider here. This will be the value, that'll be the label. So we need to get rid of this. Nope, we need to get rid of the other thing. Yeah, there we go. So this will be a template. And then we'll have just like a date, and this will be like the date. And also, we'll have the date there, we'll have the score there. Something like that. So we'll say minus 70 and plus 70. This will be the score. And then we'll set this at 70. And then I think we'll have both of these, well, no, they can both be right justified. Both right justified, they can be kind of like that. And then in title, we'll set this to be scores. Or scores. There we go. Now back should set everything up right. Okay. So all we need to do is in title, scores. There we go. And now all we need to do is in, say, rows, we just need to clone this template a couple times. And this will set up all the scores for us. All right. So this is main, okay. And we can actually hide this as well. Okay, yeah, we hide that. Let me set up that, yeah, okay. So now in the actual thing here, get rid of this. In the UI manager component, what we can do is we can do a couple things. So one, we can store a reference, just put the score code in here in the engine.ui. So yeah, that's the current score. We'll create a protected rect transform. This will be the scores holder. And then we'll create a protected rect transform. This will be the score template. Wouldn't it be great if there was a website where you could paste code into and it tells you exactly where you screwed up? That would be great. That's, well, actually, I think that's called Stack Overflow, right? But it doesn't necessarily know. Like, it would be very hard to do that. Just because what you consider broken, someone else might not consider broken. And what someone else considers broken, you might not consider broken. But anyway, we're going to create a method for clearing the scores, for clearing out the scores. So protect void clear scores. So what this will do is whenever we open the score screen, if there were previously loaded scores, we want to destroy all of them. So we'll just say for each transform, say transform child, then we can say in the scores holder. So since the scores holder is a transform, we can just get all of the children, and whenever you use like the in on a transform, you get a list of all of its children. Then you can just say destroy child.gameObject. And so this will just clear all the scores. What's interesting. And so whenever we on-click score, we just say clear scores. Then it'll destroy all the pre-existing scores if there were any. Then we say var scores is equal to game manager component. So we want to load the scores. Say .instance.datamanager .load scores .entries. So now this is a list of scores. .load scores .entries. So now this is a list of scores. My first game isn't even finished and I already managed to motivate someone. What do you mean motivate someone? And I already managed to motivate someone. I don't know what you mean. So say for each, let's say score, or scores.entry, or scores.score in scores. So for each one of those, score, or inspire, okay. So yeah, inspire Inspire makes sense. That's really good. What did you inspire them to do? Hopefully it's something good. I mean, because given the way that your game works, I mean, you could inspire them to be doing something, you know, not great. But did you like inspire them to make their own game or something? So what we want to do is we want to find started a Unity course. Oh, that's cool. It's like on Udemy or something, or on YouTube, or yeah. But that's really cool. Glad that you could be an inspiration. That's what I think everyone should aspire to inspire. What is it? Aspire to inspire before you expire? I believe that is the saying. So this is the text. And so what we want to do is so we want to instantiate. The score template, score template. So we want to create a new copy of that, and then we want to set its parent to be the scores holder. And then we want to store that, and this is going to be, I guess, a row. And what we're going to say is row.getComponent or I think we can say get components. Probably get components in children, text, or TMP text. So this will get us all of the text, and we can just say 0.text. So this is the first one. This is going to be equal to score.date, and then we can do the same thing for the actual score itself. It'll be score.value. All right, and so this should load the scores. Oh, right, toString. That should be fine. And then we will say row.gameObject.setActiveTrue because the template will end up being inactive to begin with. All right, so now this should load all the scores. Well, actually, no, because it's in settings, right. So we need to do that stuff as well. So we need to say, I believe, main.setActive, settings.setActive, so we need to actually have scores as well. So say protected game object, we say scores. All right. And then in onClick score, we're just going to say score, scores, and then scores, or active menu equals scores. I think this will work, assuming I did all of that right. All right, so what we need to do is in here, we need to set up some stuff. We need to go into main, we need to go into scores. We need to grab the template for the score template. The score holder is going to be rows, and then the scores itself is going to be that. I believe that's all we need to do. Let's try this. Now this might actually be destroying the template. Huh, interesting. I'm curious why that didn't happen, or why that didn't work. Why are these inactive? That's weird. Why are these inactive? No, really, why were those inactive? What? That doesn't make any sense why those were inactive. I mean, also, oh wait, does it deactivate them when it, oh, interesting. Okay. So I think what's going on is it's cloning the game objects that are marked for destruction. So I think we need to say we need a var index equals 0. And we need to say if index is 0, then we continue. So what this will do is or actually no, what am I doing? That's lame. Basically, the template will be inactive, so we'll just say if child.gameObject.active. Continue. And we'll just invert this. So if the game object is not active, then we just continue and ignore it. That should ignore the disabled template. And so the score should load now. Alright, so now it scores, yeah, there we go. We need to change the spacing, but hey, it loads. And so now if we start and we get a new high score, so 720 or 700 and something, I think that's a newer high score. That's definitely a new high score there. Okay. That's just because the original is so low, but yeah. There should probably be like some bonus for actually finishing a level, but you know. Not gonna be too picky. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we can actually die. Still confused. You're confused about what, though? As to why it's not working? Alright. Ooh. Oh, they don't implement iComparable. Oh, that's right, they don't implement iComparable. That's fair. Alright. Also, that's broken. I forgot. Wait, what are you confused about? Why your code doesn't work? So we have to put our data manager in here, right? So can I sort these according to a comparable? I think I can, right? I think we can do that. Okay. Script is not working. Okay. So can we say left, right, such that left dot compared to left dot value compared to right dot value. Aha, okay. So the error that we got is that score doesn't implement iComparable. And so basically what that means is that you have to sort things that can be compared. So for instance, score.score here, whenever we ask C# to sort this, it doesn't know how to sort these score objects because it doesn't know what we want to sort by, so it doesn't know if we want to sort, let's say, by, maybe we want to sort by date, or maybe we want to sort by value. It can't figure out which one. So what we have to do is we have to tell it, hey, given score 1 and score 2, just use the left.value.compare to right.value. That's how it gets sorted. And so that's what we have to do. That's what we have to tell it. So the date, that can just go that way. And we can have the score over there a little bit. All right. So the script's not working, yeah. I mean, like I said, the thing that I'd recommend doing is just trying to rebuild the functionality like bit by bit and see if you can, if you can figure out where you went wrong the first time. I'm very, very saturated. Let's desaturate a little bit. It's weirding me out how saturated that was for a while. Alright, as soon as this loads up, okay. We need to fix that. Alright. What's the actual issue here? So did I click the wrong thing? Yes I did. Alright, that needs to be there. Why is that there? Why did I click that? That should be there. That's what that should be. Make a command like which locks left click if true, meaning instead of holding you can click twice, then it allows for commands like object size of 10. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. What did I click that was wrong? That's definitely wrong. We want that. Rather than being aligned left, should be aligned right. That's right. Okay. Okay, let's go to scores. We need to fix that too, but that's better. I like that the back actually works. That's good. All right. So now we shouldn't get that comparable issue. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like toggle stuff can be kind of weird, but I mean, it shouldn't be that awful. I mean, another solution for like toggle stuff, if you really can't figure it out, would be that you could create like a component for when it's on and a component for when it's off. And then you could just enable or disable whichever one you wanted based on what behavior you wanted. That's possible. It's not super great, but it would work. Be available in development builds. All right, I need to actually get hit by an asteroid here. There we go. Perfect. Can I get hit by you? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I mean, I really think there's a case to be made that you could just make like a reverse asteroids game where the idea is to collect stuff and people would never be able to get hit by the asteroids then. But like whenever you're actually trying to hit them and not get hit, nearly impossible. It's weird. Okay, so that seemed to sort them, but it didn't work. That's interesting. Maybe it's sorting them lowest to highest. Does it really sort descending? Is that really the default sort? Is it descending? That would be weird. Or no, sorry, it would be ascending, right. Okay, right. The default sort is ascending. So that's why we get lowest to highest. Okay, that's fair. So we need to fix that. I think what we can do is we can just invert it with like a minus, and I think that'll work. That'll give you the inverse sort. So if we go here, yeah, it's sorted lowest to highest. Okay. So the issue here, or we can just say right, well, if we do right not compared to left, does that sort it the other way? Let's not worry about it. Let's just do this, because that'll fix it. Let's just reverse the sorting order. That way, everything gets resorted. I mean, it won't work right now because the scores are already in the file. So what we need to do is we need to either get a new high score or at least get on the scoreboard so that it will actually, it'll actually update the scores. And eventually we'll get the, hold to fire working. So, oh, well, that sucks. Okay. Yeah, eventually we'll get the hold to fire working so that we can, just click and hold. Okay. Yeah, this should definitely get us onto the scoreboard. There we go. Okay. Now we go to the score. Yeah, there we go. Now they're sorted correctly. Okay. And we might have to change the cap to like 10 or something, or to like 5 or something. I don't know. Yeah. Alright, so the actual scores themselves. The date needs to go over like that. Right? Should set the time scale to like 2 or something for this. But yeah, we might just show the top 5. That's probably better. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's top 4 there. Okay. So yeah, let's just change this to the top 5. Like that. Alright. So now we need to test that. And so all we have to do now is just get 2 high scores, and that should test the scoreboard stuff. But yeah, let's start. I mean, really, we can just fill out the scoreboard by getting a 0 here. I think that'll work. And that should put you there. There we go. All right, and then you're going to just kill us. Or maybe we're just not going to die. All right. let's go to the main menu. Okay, so score, yep, okay. So now let's get a new score and see that the other score is actually pushed off of the board, which is what should happen. So this should push the 0 off of the board. So there shouldn't be a 0 at the bottom anymore, is what we should see. All right. So now, did it work? Yes, it did. Okay, perfect. And as you can see, there's only 5 templates over here. So yeah, that's how we do sort of a scoreboard. That's how you do like data persistence and stuff like that. So again, if we restart this, then it should keep the 5 scores that we just had. And I mean, of course, one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to make like the top 3 have like, you know, like a gold kind of color and then a silvery kind of color and then maybe a bronze kind of color, but I don't know. We'll deal with that at some other point, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. I'm trying to think. Actually, okay, yeah. I was like, did I limit the speed so that you can't set it to 0? Because if you set the speed to 0, everything would be broken. But no, you can't. Okay. All right. Okay. So, I think the next thing we wanted to do, and like the last thing for to wrap up the stream, is to do the like hold to fire thing. So for the player controller, it's actually relatively easy to do. If we have this get mouse button down, all we need to do is we need to store a floating point value. So what we want to do is instead of saying get mouse button down, we just want to say get mouse button. So this will return true for every frame that the player has the mouse button held. And so what we'll say is get mouse button down, and we want to say time greater than next fire time. So the next fire time is when the player is allowed to fire next. And so what we'll do is we will just have next fire time. If the time is greater than that, then we'll say that once we fire, the next fire time is going to be equal to time.time plus, and then some kind of fire delay. Suggest raid in sim. Who is that? What are they doing? Like, who are they? Are they doing programming, or what kind of content are they doing? And so what we'll do is we'll create a protected constant float fire delay. So this is the time between shots. So we'll say, I don't know, point. I only want to do programming stuff though. I don't really want to raid for gaming stuff. Protected float. This will be the next fire time. I mean, Phantasmophobia is a good game, but, or was it Phasmophobia? Yeah, Phasmophobia. Is that the fear of, why is that not clearing? Really? Next fire time? Did I not? Next fire time, there we go. Isn't that the fear of that silver stormtrooper woman? Phasmophobia? Yeah, I know, pretty terrible, but now let's see. All right, so we start. Yeah, okay. So that's a very slow fire rate. We can fix this. What are you asking the what for? Oh, whoops. Phasmophobia is the fear of ghosts. Yeah, I know it's the fear of ghosts, but what I was saying is, because in the Star Wars movie, that silver stormtrooper lady, her name is Phasma, I believe. Yeah, Phasma. I thought it was Phasma. Maybe I'm wrong. Isn't that her name? Yeah. Let's see, yeah. Phasma, yeah, the stormtrooper lady with like the silver suit, her name is Phasma. Captain Phasma, yeah. So yeah, Phasmophobia, right? But yeah, I know that it's normally like the fear of ghosts. We'll just set this to 0.3. I mean, that's what Finn had, right? He was afraid of her. So he had phasmophobia, obviously. Yeah, I think this is a little bit better. I mean, you could just have like auto fire, but that's too easy. Yeah, I kind of like this. Yeah, it's much easier when you don't have to click all the time. It's also much less noisy. Nope, we're dead. Okay. Alright, so I think that is a good place to end this stream. What I will do... I actually want to look at something. Is the submission pages open for this? There are entries. Ooh, okay. A phobia I came up with is prosenophobia? Prosentophobia? It's the fear of my bad games. Okay. What we'll probably do for the later stream is we'll probably just play some of the dungeon crawler games from the dungeon crawler jam. That's probably what we'll do. I'll probably just do I'll try to shoot for at least 2 hours of those, but maybe 4. Yeah, percentage guy. If you ever see anybody doing like programming content, then I will. Oh, present is the German. Present is the German word for percent. Okay, I assumed that it was probably something like that, but I didn't know. I don't know German. It's good to learn a little bit of it though. Present. I don't know. I don't know the pronunciation. But yeah, I guess that's fair. I'm trying to think of what the fear of my games would be called. I don't know. I can't come up with a good name off the top of my head. Anyway, I'm going to call the stream here. What we'll do in the later stream is instead of doing development, we will do some submissions for the Dungeon Crawler Jam, because that was kind of fun. Feel bad for not being able to stream my stuff. Oh, is this from the Grumpy Game Dev? Yeah, we'll have to play that then. But yeah, we'll do that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you a bit later.